a stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most are off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beach dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay-at-home Disney dad.
What is Tex? Matt Dillion. This is a monster. This VHS taped case feels like it's beta. It's like 10 pounds anyway. I don't know what to make of this. And I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to press play on Tex. Should also mention I'm going into this one alone. Not sure if Tex is child friendly or not. It's just Matt Dillion and his horse drinking from a pond when we press play. This is Tex. Apparently Emilio Estevez is in this as well. It's been 10 minutes. And so far, it's been a horse riding montage with Matt Dillion talking to his horse. I told you, I don't got no more carrots. His brother is applying to Indiana State College. The gas in their house got turned off. Pops is coming back soon. Rodeo season should be over soon. Pops will come back and save us all with his rodeo money. I guess Dad goes away for long stretches of time as he's a rodeo clown and he sends his kids cash, but he ain't sending cash right now. The boys are out of money, but don't worry, Pops is coming back. Pops ain't coming back, Matt Dillion. He's not, is he? It is Emilio Estevez. Tex pops on the back of Emilio's motorbike and they're off to school. Emilio's sister is like, Emilio, you got to get home after you got to help Dad flush the radiator. Matt says to his sister, I'll help flush your radiator. Damn, son. She smells him and goes, he's a horse. And Dylan's like, some of me is a horse. He's talking about his In school, though, Matt is an idiot. Tex is an idiot. I have no idea what this movie is about so far. I'm 25 minutes in. His older brother is home and he paid the gas bill and bought some food. Uh-oh. What did his older brother do for money? Is this the plot? What did he do for money? He made a lot of money in a short amount of time. Oh, he sold the horses. Didn't see that coming. I assumed his older brother went and was like a truck stop prostitute or something. It says a lot about my brain. That's a me thing, not a you thing. That's all good. Tex! Tex storms out and storms back inside and says, no, funny, I'll give you one more chance. What'd you do with them horses? Brother Mason says, either the horses would have starved to death or we would have. Dillion throws a fit and starts trashing the house, and Mason tackles him in the kitchen. They start tearing at each other's clothes and wrestling on the kitchen floor. Getting hot. Dillion stomps down the street trying to find his horse. Emilio and Emilio's sister find him wandering down the middle of the road and they're like, this is dumb, just go home. He tells them to kick rocks. Keeps on walking. He's going to find his horse. Mason finally pulls up beside him in the truck and he's like, get in, loser. Tex gets in and we cut to him in bed pouting. Some other guys show up outside now and he's like, I came over because my girlfriend's in bed with another guy. And after a long drawn out pause, we realize that his girl just gave birth and she's in bed with a baby boy. Weird joke, man. Weird birth announcement. They go to Emilio's place to spread the good news, but it's late, so they climb in through his window and they all hoot and holler, and then Matt sneaks across the hall into the sister's room. And the music that is playing is like horror movie, like has dark implications. He finds the sister sleeping and she pops up and sprays him with a water gun, and then her dad hears a commotion and barges in, and Tex hides in her closet. Emilio's walking around in his tiny 80s shorts, and the music bed would believe me something dark was going to happen, and it didn't happen. Then her and Tex go back to her brother's bedroom, and everyone's in there, and then Dad hears commotion upstairs, so everyone jumps out the window so they don't get busted by Emilio and his sister's dad. For real, what the fuck is this movie about? Regardless, as a horror movie fan, there is something I just love more than anything, and that is the aesthetic of 70s, early 80s cinema. It's all dark and grainy and poorly lit. It's not doing much for this movie, but watch like The Exorcist or Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay, the brothers get home and we get sad reflective music now as they talk about how the guy that had the baby is a loser and couldn't stand his girlfriend before he knocked her up. Yikes. We jump now, and we are at the fair, and I think it's the brothers are riding a bunch of rides together and getting into trouble, and once again, the music is just all over the place. Is this before they understood how to use music to help set up the mood in specific scenes? Oh, it's not the brother. It's Matt. It's Tex and Emilio. They piss off this one car, and he chases them, swinging his hat before they run into some girls, and they all go to see a fortune teller. We learn that Matt Dillion, who's like 30 here in this movie, turns 16 next week as Tex. Like the actor's like 30, Tex is 16, okay, whatever. Madam whatever reads his palm and says, "You're a fourth generation cowboy. You're gonna change next year, but my advice is don't change." He's like, "Change, but don't change? What does that mean?" He looks outside the tent and he sees a horse run by, and she goes, "I'm sorry, the answer is no." No to what? Was there a question? Did I miss something? What is happening? Is this a horror movie? This movie is just a series of scenes of people living. It's like kids with no charm. There's no storyline that I can follow or tell. Tex comes home drunk, and he and his brother remember the time Mom died. His brother asks if he's too drunk to get undressed by himself, and I stop typing and look up. We pan over to the shelf of pictures of his mom. It's like a shrine. And I feel like that should be like the end of the movie, with like the music swelling and it fading to black. But it's not. The next morning, Boss Hogg comes over. Oh, this is Bobby, like Emilio's dad. Tex's friend, so Boss Hogg is in Mason's face like, "My boy came home drunk last night and he wouldn't have gotten drunk if it wasn't for your brother Tex." And then Mason sasses Boss Hogg, and Hogg's like, "Two underage kids living out here all by themselves. What happens if I call family services, I reckon?" Mason doesn't like that one bit. And we learn that the older brother Mason is planning on leaving to go to college, and Tex is like, "So I'm coming with you?" "No." "So I'm staying here by myself?" "No." Tex is confused. I'm confused. The movie continues. Long shots of them in high school in like the 70s or 80s where all the kids look like they're 40 by 2026 standards. Tex makes a sculpture out of popsicle sticks. Then he lights it on fire and he goes, "Quick, grade it, quick." That's his sculpture. Him and his then Emilio looks at the camera and goes, that guy's sister tells Tex he's cute. And we get a 70s montage of them all out dirt biking. This was after Tex and Bobby had harsh words. Now they're not talking to each other, but they're glaring at each other. And then now some skidly guys like, "Bobby, you can't jump the creek on your motorbike." And again, what is the point to this movie? Two teenagers trying to survive while their dad is away at work. Oh, okay, Bobby's going to jump the creek. Maybe Bobby gets paralyzed? Is that going to be where we go? No, he just falls over right before the jump, and he's okay. But here comes Tex to make him look like a Tex jumps the creek and eats on the other side. So does Tex get paralyzed? Is that what this movie's about? No, he's all right. Okay, so this movie is about friends torn apart? No, Bobby comes running over. "Man, that was awesome." They slap hands and hug. They're good again. Why does this movie exist? His brother Mason goes to the hospital. Okay, is this the twist? Does he have like AIDS or cancer? Tex asks if he has cancer. He says, "I do not have cancer." Bobby's sister screams at Tex as he walks by in the mall. She goes, "I'm going to a movie." He goes, "Is it a good movie?" She goes, "I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, Tex." His brother Mason says he has an ulcer. That's why he went to the hospital. And he's on pain meds. And after last week's basketball game, he was puking up blood. Tex goes, "Are you going to be able to play?" That's peak 70s, early 80s sympathy, right? The brothers go to see that dude and his girl and the baby, and she's like, "Here, Tex, you hold him." The baby cries, and I want to cry. And as nothing about this movie is, I'm just so excited to watch the shots, like the vibe of this. Love late 70s, early 80s cinema. The new dad, he has this fancy new car, and Mason goes, "How much you make dealing drugs?" "Damn, son." Mason's like, "Nah, you shouldn't be drug dealing at all." And he's like, "Hey, I've seen you high as hell, Mason, you hypocrite. I've got a woman and a baby and a house to provide for." And Mason's like, "Whatever, pff, we're out of here." So him and Tex drive away, and then we just go to the scene of them driving, and suddenly Tex and Mason are like, Mason turns to him in the car and goes, "Yeah, man, I've never done it. I'm all talk." Same with Bobby. He ain't never done it either. Okay. They pick up a hitchhiker. Is this the plot twist? Is this where the plot is going to start on this movie, like an hour in? The hitchhiker pulls out a gun. He's like, "Keep driving." And the music does not match this moment once again. They make it all the way to the town of Bixby. They see a police car, and so Tex swerves the truck, and it hits the ditch, and it smashes, and the police circle the truck, and the hijacker is apparently wanted by the police. He tries to run, and the police shoot him, and the police are like, "Are you two okay?" to Tex and Mason. And like, I thought maybe this would be the plot. They got mixed up and the police thought these were guilty people helping them, but no. Helping the guy that ran, it doesn't matter. Mark Jennings, the escaped drug dealer, dies in a fight. Not their drug dealer. He dies in a firefight, the TV news say. And Mason and Tex are being interviewed as heroes on the news. Pop sees his kids on TV and comes home. I reckon you boys have grown. Mason and Dad immediately fight. He's like, we're out of money and I sold the horses. And Dad's like, I quit the rodeo. I'm home now. So let's go get them horses back. And Mason goes, I don't want mine back, but you go get Tex's. Movie. Tex goes to the farm and there's a little girl riding his old horse, like proper, like she's dressed and doing jumps, and Tex is all snotty with her. She's like, I had him in a show last week. We came in third. Tex is all sad and like standoffish. She goes, I used to jump him too, but like in the woods and stuff. Okay, she renamed the horse Gentleman. He goes, Gentleman! And Tex just can't do it. He doesn't try to even buy the horse back. He leaves the horse with a little girl because the horse is thriving. Tex storms home and finds a letter to his brother from Indiana University. He was accepted, or is this just an application? He hides it anyway. We are at the basketball game and Mason is playing well, you know, despite dying from an ulcer. He's stressing because he hasn't received that letter yet, but he has. And next week is the deadline and Mason says, trying to get a full scholarship was a tall ask anyway. Okay, so maybe it was the application. He thinks they didn't send it to him. He goes driving with his buddy's sister. She asks if he wants Coke. He goes, I'm not thirsty. Then he pulls over and they start making out. She goes, what are you then, if not thirsty? They say they love each other and they start at it again. And then suddenly she just like cuts him off. She pushes him off and says, I'm not ready for that. And Tex goes, why'd you get me all fired up then? She goes, how was I supposed to know? She goes, life is crazy enough for me without throwing sex in the deal. Sex in a Disney movie. It's time for finals in school, and Tex and Bobby get busted putting caps in a typewriter. So, and now Bobby's dad, is it Johnny? This is Johnny. Johnny's dad and Mason show up, and they're like, your son's the problem. No, your brother's the problem. Johnny and Tex refuse to break up the bromance. Like, we're going to keep hanging out no matter what. This movie continues. Then Tex's dad shows up, the rodeo clown, and Dad is like, well, caps in a typewriter? I did that when I was a boy. And Tex is like, that's where I got the idea from. Principal yells at Tex, then offers him a job at some stable. Suddenly Mason yells at their dad. He goes, I know Tex isn't your son and I know why you went to prison. Okay, is this the plot? Like, Tex goes running out and he sees that drug dealer in a sick ride pull up. He's like, Tex, get in, and they putter away. The dealer is like, I gotta go to this client's house and I gotta explain that I got a couple shipments mixed up. So I'm gonna go talk to them, but I'd really like you to come in and act tough because they might be angry. And Tex just doesn't care. He's like, I feel like messing someone up right now. Okay, is this where it's gonna get dark? The drug dealer's like, I like your attitude. Okay, they knock on this apartment door. Guy inside, nice apartment. This guy sold drugs to. He's pissed off. He throws a fit. The drug dealer's like, I admire your sense of high drama. And the druggie's like, you come around here with the sample and it's amazing, but then when the real drop comes, the product's crap. That's a burn, not like a disc, but like a deal burn. It starts getting heated, and Tex is like, I'm leaving, and the druggie's all strung. He's like, no, I can't let you go. You're gonna narc. I can't let you go. Then he pulls out a gun, and Tex beats that ass, and he takes the gun and he points it back at this guy, and he's like, I'm gonna kill him. Like, to the guy who bought the bad drugs from his buddy. He puts the gun right in his face, and he wants to shoot this guy over something that has nothing to do with him, and everyone talks him down. Jesus! Tex hurt his hand, I guess, bouncing it off the dealer's face repeatedly, and he goes to a payphone, and yes, a payphone. He calls Jamie, that's his girl, that's like Emilio's sister, because I guess she can put his hand back on. I don't know. It goes nowhere, though, and he sits on the sidewalk and bleeds, and the drug dealer pulls back up in his car and is like, get in, we got to get you to the doctor. We go, I guess he got shot in the hand during the scuffle. We head to the hospital, and Mason comes in hot, and Tex is in the waiting room, and this looks like the exact footage from the He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother PSA from like the late 70s, early 80s. You might not have been able to save your friend from drugs, but at least you tried. Hey, it still rings true today, right? Still, is that what this whole movie's based off of, that PSA? They take Tex away for hand surgery, and he wakes up. Can I wake up? Can this movie be over? Mason says he's going to hold off on the college stuff for a while, because Pops now is leaving again to be a clown, and Tex is still in high school, so he's going to stay home. Dad kicks Mason out of the room and is like, here's the truth about your mom, Tex. I was mixed up in some bad stuff, and she said I was gonna get caught, and I did. And when I was in prison, your mama was out whoring, and she told me she was gonna have a kid with someone else, and she never cared anything about that guy. She was just trying to get even with me. Tex is just sitting there with one hand, just like taking this, and Tex goes, "Is that why you always gave more attention to Mason over me?" And Dad pauses and goes, "Yeah." Weird transition shot of them wheeling a body through the hallway and into his room, and oh, it's Johnny and his sister. Surprise! I wasn't ready for that. This movie continues. Get the credits. Just do it. Credits and be done. Tex fishes out Mason's college papers and sad music plays. He's going to do the right thing and give him the college application papers and take that job at the stables, and then we can roll credits. We switch to Mason at practice, and suddenly coach comes up and is like, "Congratulations." And Mason's like, "For what?" "Full scholarship to Indiana University," and he realizes Tex filled out the application for him. What a swell guy. Tex is working at that ranch or that barn or whatever, and Mason comes and like, "Boys, let's wrap this up, okay?" Nothing really happens at the end of this movie, but the music swells like something big happened, although nothing happened. Tex walks away for like a 30-second shot of his butt. We go to black. Walt Disney Productions. Meg Tilly, Emilio Estevez. Suddenly we have a shredding guitar solo and out-of-time drums over the credits. Was this like Matt Dillon's film college final assignment? I gotta Google this mess. Okay. Here we go. Wikipedia says, the film was edgy for Disney at the time with scenes depicting marijuana and teenage sex. However, they did not interfere with the script once the project was launched. Hunter had also had to adapt to Disney's way of doing things and said, Disney films have traditionally been made with almost entirely in-house people in all departments. On the other hand, I was more geared, and I thought this material was more geared towards independent production. Eventually, we put the film together with a mix of people from outside and the regular Disney people. That mixture ended up working really well. I disagree. Thanks largely to producer Tim Zinnerman, initially author of the book called Tex, that they wanted to adapt this. Hinton rejected the offer. She said she had previously rejected all offers regarding a film adaptation of her book. She said, when a Disney executive convinced me that they weren't going to make Tex Meets the Seven Dwarfs, I got a little interested. They had ended good. Nice, that's a fun quote.
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism